We're back. Da-na-na-na.
Hey, Jordan.
Welcome back.
You're listening to Blackbird Breakfast Club.
You don't have to do that,
But I did.
but you did.
That's what we're doing.
And that's live.
Roll the
That's
intro.
live. Welcome back. I'm Jordan.
I'm Joseph.
It's the breakfast Blackbird. What is this?
We titled this a tongue twister. It
The
is
Blackbird Breakfast Club. Thanks for joining. Joseph, what are we going to talk about today?
Today, I'm going to tell stories about my time in the workforce. This is the stories of my jobs.
Joseph has had more jobs of anyone I know, I think.
Yeah.
And we thought it'd be funny and fun for him to go through all of them.
Some of them have been great. Some of them have been really bad.
Yeah.
Everything in between. There's
Yeah.
been funny stories. There's been sad stories.
Yeah. So overall, did you tally them? How many?
Yeah.
Do you have your phone?
I think I left my phone.
Joseph.
It's easier for you to get out. Could you?
Oh, it's my job to get it? Okay.
Well, it's just I have so
Where
many
is your
things to
phone?
climb over. It's either on the counter or it's in the bathroom. Welcome back to my breakfast club. Now that Jordan's gone, this is the secret breakfast club that we don't tell Jordan about. Okay, she's coming back. Don't make it obvious that we were talking about her. Okay? Guys, I've been working since I was 14 years old. That's when I started working.
Wow.
And I naively was excited about it.
That's cute.
I started getting excited about working at 13.
Wow.
13 years old.
All right.
And I was like, I want a job.
So you got one. Year later. How many jobs have you had?
I have had 16 different jobs.
Oh my God. In how many years? 10 years?
Since 2011.
11
it's
years.
now the year 2022.
Thank you.
In the year of our Lord. It has been 11 years, and I've had 16 different jobs.
So in 11 years, you've had... I'm just going to repeat what you
Yeah, I don't know
just
how many different ways to say it.
What was your first job? Let's hear it.
My first job in the year 2011, when I was 14,
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the Latrobe Skate Center.
Oh, yeah. You said you liked that job a little bit.
Yeah.
You said it was cool, kind of.
I liked the job itself.
The idea of it sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, so I was a skate guard. That was my official position, was skate guard.
What does that mean?
That means that I wore the striped jersey and skated
Wow.
around and enforced the rules. I was the law at the skate center. At 14
I
years
can
old.
see 14-year-old Joseph doing that.
Thriving.
Thriving. Gosh, that is so funny.
This was the job that I was excited about, too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I applied for it. They're like, you can't work here until you're 14.
So you
which
were
feels like child labor.
you
That's insane to me that they're hiring 14-year-olds.
there's a lot there to unpack. So you were point guard.
Yeah, on the soccer team.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what
So
that is.
I tell you what, I put my rollerblades on and I skated around and I yelled at some kids.
That sounds
And it
about
was
right.
me and a bunch of other 14-year-olds who were yelling at 14-year-olds to skate in the correct direction. Because, I don't know if the last time that you've been to a roller skating rink, but they in order to even out the wear on the floor of the rink, they will alternate directions that you're meant to skate
Oh, yeah.
between
I
songs.
feel like you've told me that before. What's weird about skating rinks is they have not changed in aesthetic since they've started.
Yeah.
Nothing about you could go in there. That's why you see films with so many skating rink
It's a time
venues
capsule.
because you don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah.
You just go in and you're in the 80s or the 70s or whatever
It's
year.
a very 80s enterprise.
It's crazy.
So yeah, that was my first job.
Okay.
And I think I got paid $7 an hour.
Oof.
That was at maybe $7.25. Whatever the federal minimum wage was, that's what they were
That's
paying
crazy.
us teenagers.
That's insane.
So I feel like here's what I want to do. I'm gonna tell what the job was,
Mm-hmm.
a funny story from that job,
Mm-hmm.
and then how I left it,
Okay, cool.
and then transition into the next one.
Cool.
So while working there,
Mm-hmm.
I got sort of promoted to the DJ booth.
Ooh.
There was no program.
DJ Joseph.
There was no program to run the lights. It was all light switches
No way.
in a booth.
No way.
So like during like the dark
That's so weird.
yeah, it was like operating like the Millennium Falcon from inside that
Well,
DJ
it's
booth
like-
because
it's
it
like-
was the DJ software where you're just, fading in between songs. But then you have just a row of light switches.
That
with
sounds
which
like
to like
well, that sounds
flip
like
to the
someone
time.
who has no idea about lighting or anything
No.
just designed that. They were like, "Well, we'll
yeah, it
put
was
light
built by an
switches in."
electrician.
That's
Let's be honest.
insane. That's insane to me.
So that was funny. And then me and so we had what we called the skate hop, which was on Friday nights.
Mhm.
It would be like the after school, like the cool kids would come, and it would be like
That's cool.
no one would really skate. It was more just like a club for kids.
Make out and
And
stuff.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And so I
was your-
I was the law at the teenagers club.
So there were people older than you, and you had to tell them to stop doing
yes.
stuff.
Oh yes.
That's funny.
Well, it was all middle schoolers, like
Right.
including the employees.
That's insane.
Uh,
Yeah.
And me and a couple of buddies who worked there would all kind of have bets on like whoever would win the night was the person who like broke up the craziest thing for that night.
Oh gosh.
And I usually would have to break up some form of motorboating, just dry humping and motorboating, and it was just a bunch of horny little kids in the
Yeah,
dark at the roller
sounds about
skating
right.
rink. And that was my job. I got paid to do that.
Wow.
I left that. I all but got fired from that job. The over a discrepancy about holidays because we as a family were going to go to Florida for this New Year's Eve, and there was no contracts or anything.
I was gonna say it's not like you're on salary at the skating
no,
rink.
exactly. And my boss essentially like shadow banned me from working there
That's
because
insane.
I chose to not work New Year's Eve. She told me that if she had known that I wasn't going to work New Year's Eve, she wouldn't have hired me.
That's crazy.
Right. Get ready to say that a bunch. So she basically stopped putting me on the schedule, and I was like, "Cool, I'm gonna quit." So that was my time at the roller skating rink. Oh man, we get good now.
All right.
I started working at the local driving range after this, which
Gun stuff?
no, it's golf stuff.
Oh. I'm like, you didn't tell me about this.
That's a firing range. This is a driving.
I don't know. I
range.
heard range, and I
Yeah.
thought
So this was
associated it
at
with
at the end of my
guns.
street because I lived in the middle of nowhere. Everyone just had big empty lots, and this person who had just acres of land just decided to put up some, how many yards out signs and a little shack and kind of buy the accoutrement that you need to run a driving range, and painted the side of his barn to say driving range. So this was where I worked.
Okay.
And this job was $8 an hour under the table.
Oh yeah.
I
got paid under the table
living.
once too.
That was amazing. Going from
Yeah.
$7.25 an hour taxed to $8 an hour cash at 14 years old.
Oh, you were thriving.
I was king of the world.
Yeah. What were you spending your money on?
Legos.
Of course.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed Legos.
I love that for you.
I was having the best time.
That's
This
great.
job was incredible. I did everything there. I basically ran the place. He entrusted a 14, maybe 15-year-old to run his driving range.
Wow.
Nobody ever showed up. It was empty constantly. I would just sit and read. That
That's
was
great.
my whole
That's
job.
the best
was
kind of
sit.
job,
So
honestly.
I would sit in the shack, and when somebody showed up, I would take their money and I would give them a bucket of balls, and then they would whack all the balls into the field. And then at some point, when we started to run out of balls, and this was the best days, I got to get in the little cart and go pick the balls.
Wow.
So you drive the cart up and down the range, and it has a little catcher on the back of it,
Nice.
and it catches all the balls.
That's so fun for you.
And that was my job.
That's great.
It was amazing. I loved that one. I would go back and work there again now, actively.
For $8 an hour?
For $8 an hour.
Please don't do that.
I unfortunately had to leave that job because he went out of business. Because nobody ever showed up.
And he was paying people under the table.
Well,
I mean, there's lots going on there.
That's fair.
All right.
So that's the driving range.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now, I would say that I'm at least 15 at this point. No, you know what? I guaranteed I'm 16 because this is when I started my stint in corporate America. And I went to work for Kmart.
Oh, God.
Sears Holdings. I don't know if you have ever looked up what like the 10 worst places to work in America is, but every year on that list is Sears Holdings, which is Sears, Kmart, Land's End. I don't think any of these places exist anymore.
I have not heard Land's End.
Was that a staple for you guys?
10 years. No, I always bought bathing suits from there.
Land's End.
Because they had modest bathing suits.
You had modest, like one pieces?
No, tankinis.
Why didn't you just get a one piece? Was that immodest?
No, but I wanted to be cool. No,
You had a tankini?
tankinis were the let me tell you.
Wow. I can't say that I've ever shopped at Land's End.
But you know what that is, right? It's just
it's like a high-waisted...
No high waist back then.
Low? It
was just a regular like bikini bottom, but the top was like a shirt size. Like it would go lower. It would touch. Gross. It would be like a shirt. It was like
So you were wearing a t-shirt.
No, it was like a longer, like it wasn't a bikini because it wouldn't show your stomach.
Was it so that the young Christian boys didn't see your midriff?
Yes, it covered your stomach.
That's wild.
We all know how that turned out for me.
You only own crop tops now. I see your stomach every person that you walk by sees your stomach every day.
Yeah.
I have seen you naked.
I mean, yeah.
But most people have seen your stomach.
We're married.
Just go ahead and
we
say
are.
that. A lot of people have seen your stomach.
That was a deep memory for me.
Well, it's a place to work.
Funny. I didn't know Land's End had a brick and mortar store.
I don't know if they did or not. I didn't work at Land's End. I worked at Kmart. I was a cashier at our local Kmart. And boy, oh boy, the stories that I have. I'll tell you what. I still have the rest of this list. You can't see it. The rest of this list to go through. We're on number 4, I think.
Yeah.
Out of all of these and the rest of the list, Kmart is the only time that I have ever had to clean up human
I knew that.
Off of the ground.
I knew.
And it wasn't once.
Oh, God. What are people doing in Kmart?
They're just coming into a Kmart.
Your brains out.
And just pooping. And then letting some 15-year-old go clean it up.
That is just so crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yes. I can see it now.
I don't want to know.
Because I'll tell you what. I'll tell you where it wasn't. It was not in the bathroom.
Was it in the aisles?
It was in the light bulb aisle.
Stop.
Like a full trail. Imagine if you were you were to draw what you thought a trail of poop through a light bulb aisle in the Kmart looked like, and that's exactly what it looked like.
I don't, why is it in the aisle? Why is it not in the bathroom? That's disgusting.
I don't know. So that was Kmart.
Great times.
Here's another crazy story.
At Kmart?
Well, yeah, this is a more recent story of this Kmart before it went out of business.
Oh, you did tell me this.
My manager died there. He had a heart attack in the Kmart. died there.
I can't laugh at that. This is just crazy.
Rip Fred.
It's not funny that he died.
It's not funny that he
It's
died,
not
but it
funny.
sure is funny how he died and where he died.
It's funny where. That's so bad. You just said someone died, and I bursted into laughter. But I didn't mean it that way, guys.
Everyone dies.
I know, but it was just the way you said it.
All right. So.
Kmart was
left
wild.
Kmart for obvious reasons.
Yeah, we don't even have to.
I was looking for any out there. Oh, the other thing to mention is I worked there with my brother.
Yes, I remember that.
We got hired at the same time.
If I remember that, I mean you told me that before.
Yeah. I've told you most of these stories before.
I don't know why I feel the need to disclaim that you've told me these things before.
It's pretty assumed, I would
pretty
imagine.
obvious.
So my brother and I both got hired,
Mm.
and at the time I couldn't drive because I was a teenager. And it was like, this is how small town this was. It's like the stipulation was like you hire both of us and we work the same shifts, so that because that was our only way to get there and back because my brother
Carpool.
could drive, so he would drive both of us there, and then we'd
So
stop
we're a
by
package
McDonald's
deal.
and we'd get $1 sweet tea on the way home.
Oh, love that.
And we'd
for
play
you.
Monopoly, like the McDonald's Monopoly.
No, I know what you're talking about. I love
Anyway,
that. Great.
So I left there.
Love that.
And so that was my first entrance into retail. I would say that my other jobs were entertainment, the entertainment industry.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're into retail.
Mm-hmm.
From retail, I got hired at. Don't look at my notes.
Why not?
Because
I'm
telling you the stories.
I thought of another one. I wanted to make sure you thought of it, but I'll let you go.
Another what?
Another job.
I know all my jobs.
I know.
Promise you.
Well, I know, but I just realized I was like, oh, he worked another Sorry. I didn't know the notes were confidential.
The notes are confidential. That's what keeps this exciting.
No, I know. I get it.
So from Kmart, left there in a hurry.
Ran out of there.
And I got hired at Madre's Cocina. And
Cocina?
Cocina.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because it was called Madre's Cocina.
So not a casina.
What do you think that is?
Casino. Not a casino?
No. Cocina, as in the Spanish word for kitchen. Cocina.
I thought you were saying casino wrong. And then
you thought that I was saying, like,
I thought you were working.
let's
I was
go
like,
play some blackjack down at the casino.
Yes, and all I was thinking through my mind is, that's not the right word. He's saying it wrong. But what's the word? And then I realized it's a Spanish word.
Yep.
Not, okay. So
Madre's
not a
Cocina.
casino.
Cosina.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Cocina.
All right.
It was at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
It was a ripoff of Chipotle. It was
okay.
run by the whitest people you've ever met.
Rough.
Yeah. This is where I learned, don't work for your friends. Because these were my parents' friends. They started this place. They took a trip to Santa Fe and then came back and were like, here's what we need to do. This is going to change the world. Started a Mexican restaurant.
Wow.
So that was Madre's Cocina. It was not great. It was the mall food court. Imagine going to the mall food court.
I see it in my mind, and it is bad.
100%. Yeah, it was all right. Didn't enjoy working in food, but
well, what was next then?
that would come back to haunt me. Next was Kmart again.
No way, you went back?
Went back. They took me back.
You dummy.
They missed me.
You
I
fool.
was the light.
You ignorant little
I
child.
was the blue light special at Kmart.
Oh my god.
For anybody who remembers Kmart.
I don't know what the blue light special is.
You don't know what the blue light special is?
Am I supposed to know what that means?
Jordan, this was the best invention in retail history.
I didn't spend a lot of time in Kmart ever in my life, so
there was one aisle or like an end cap or whatever that had a blue light above it.
Oh.
And a siren. And like at random points throughout the day,
a siren.
yeah, the blue light would turn on and the sirens
Loud.
would go off.
Loud?
And that meant that aisle was 50% off.
So people would run.
Would run
That's scary.
to the blue light.
It's like Black Friday.
But at random points during the day.
Could be any time.
Yeah.
But
And
it's
they
a surprise.
pants on the way over there.
That's
Apparently,
terrible.
that's probably we had a siren in the store.
That
That's probably why
I
people
mean,
were
there's your
pooping.
problem.
Right.
He's scaring people.
It was scaring them.
Was this a Kmart's only thing?
The blue light special?
Yeah, I've never heard of that
Yeah.
before. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's their mascot was a blue light bulb. Yeah.
I didn't know that. There's a blue light
A
bulb.
blue light bulb.
There were a lot of signs for
Yes.
you that you should have gotten out while you
Yeah.
could.
100%.
All right.
So I
all
went
right.
to work
Carry
there
on.
for another couple months. 'Cause
Okay.
I just needed to get out of Madre's Casino was not it.
Mm-mm.
So
No,
it was-
fair. You
it was
needed
back to
something.
Kmart.
Yeah, that's back to what you know. It's
Yeah,
understandable.
There's a brief interlude here after my second time into Kmart where I delved into freelancing.
Oh.
And I, for a summer, worked at my friend's mom's house mulching. So she had trees that needed mulched. So
Mulch
me,
is just
me and
the
my buddy,
funniest word.
shout out Chris Kell. Me and my buddy would just stay at his mom's house and mulch trees
That's
all summer.
so specific.
Yeah.
But
I-
honestly, sounds fun. Like with your friend,
yeah.
you know?
I mean, it got us outside. We were hanging out. Chris and I were in a band together at the time, so
Yeah.
it was like
You were
bonding time for
besties.
us.
You
we
were just
besties.
mulching and
Just mulching.
hanging out.
Just a couple of bros mulching all summer.
what more could you ask?
What more could you ask for?
Yeah.
And then his mom got really mad at him one time, and I didn't come back after that. And it was really awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably for the best.
Yeah. So, stop doing that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where we get into. This might be my favorite job I've ever had.
Oh, I know it one. Yeah.
We're at the comic book store.
Yes.
So I think I might have taken a brief pause from working for a while. There's just a lot going on in my life. It was like, I was
Teenager.
probably
There's a lot.
sophomore, junior in high school.
Yeah.
Just I needed some time. So I just
Mhm.
stopped working for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which I should have taken much longer
You
to
should
do
have.
that.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm learning from this is I shouldn't have been excited
Mm-mm.
about working
Mm-mm.
because I wouldn't get a break for
Yeah.
a long time
Yeah.
until COVID hit.
Comic
So-
book store.
I, at the time, started getting into some nerdy hobbies that I still have to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, Magic the Gathering. That is my hobby.
Magic is my life.
Magic is my passion.
Magic is.
Discovered this in high school through a similar store that was not quite a comic book store, but was pretty dedicated to trading card games.
Mm-hmm.
That my brother and I stumbled upon. This fell into my lap, and
It was-
I
it was fate.
discovered my favorite game, and the hobby that would consume most of my time and money for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
To this point.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started frequenting this store that was called SCG Hobby, Sports Cards, Comics, and Games Hobby Store.
Wow.
They sold sports cards, comics, and games.
Shocking.
I know. So I started frequenting this store,
Yeah.
As a patron, and then saw a help wanted sign.
And you said,
I was already pretty close with the owner. His name was Cody. So I was just like, Cody, you should hire me.
I'm your help.
At this point, and I think part of why he hired me is I'm a cool person, and I think people like being around me. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I had work experience at this point. That was one of the few things.
You had
that
a lot of work
I have
experience.
had. At this
You probably
point,
had a longer resume than anyone your
I had a
age.
longer resume than anybody.
Yeah.
Because at this point, I was doing online school throughout high school.
Mm-hmm.
All of my classes were on Zoom, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It was proprietaries through their own software, but it was Zoom classes.
Yeah. Online classes.
And I didn't care about any of it.
No.
So what that meant is that I could bring my laptop to work and pop it open and be in school. Don't do this, kids. Could be in school while I was getting paid. So
That's,
from an early age, I've been trying to figure out how to game the system.
yeah.
And this
Good
was
for
my
you.
version of it. So
You
I would
figured
I
it
would
out.
just be like popped open, move my
Yeah.
mouse around, move my mouse around a little bit so that it looked
Yeah.
like I was
There.
participating,
Mm-hmm.
and then be like sorting through comic books while I was doing that. So I wasn't a great student. I didn't get very good grades.
Yeah,
But you
I
know
wonder
what?
why.
C's
It's
get
okay.
degrees, baby.
Turned
Got
out
my
okay.
high school diploma.
Yeah.
So I was working during the day while I should have been in school. And I think that's part of why he hired me, was like, the only we lived in like a college town, essentially. There's St. Vincent was right there. So there was some college students who had classes. They were kind of made up a lot of the customer base of this store.
Right.
And while everyone else was in classes, I could be the one who was working. So I think that's why he hired me. So big part of my job was just sort through lots of comic books that people would bring in and price them. So I would just check on eBay, go through all of this. That changed the course of my life because I still do that to this day.
Yeah, you do.
I learned how to find things of value that people didn't know were valuable. And that, I would say, is a large portion of my hobbies.
Yeah.
If I had discovered Facebook Marketplace before, I would be homeless. I would be so broke that I'd be homeless.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Here we are.
Homed. Loved working at SCG. That was one of the best. And I left there to move. That was this is when I moved to Nashville. So this was 2015.
Wow.
So I was 18. And I remember walking in to my job, and I went to shake my boss's hand. And I said, "Hey, I'm moving." He's like, "All right, sounds good."
Said okay.
And then I left. And this was now I moved to Nashville, and this starts my independent searching for what do I want to do. A brief aside into the weirdest and scariest job interview that I've ever had.
All right.
So this was like a week into living in Nashville, and there was an ad on Craigslist for
never a good start to the story.
I've done a lot of good jobs on Craigslist.
Okay.
So I stand by it.
All right.
So it was for like somebody to take care of like dogs at a dog kennel, which I love dogs. So, and especially then, loved dogs.
Big dog guy.
Big dog guy. So I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to go there. So I went to apply, and the lady who was running the place, I'm not going to name the name of it because I don't want to dox them, but the lady who was running the place was bringing me through, and I could tell as we were going through the tour of the place that she started talking about, well, when you start, you'll do this thing. And it started sounding like she's hired me. Like,
you said this is day
I'm
one.
on the tour of the facility, and she is basically talking about, well, when I start on Monday.
Weird.
So I already had red flags. I
Yeah.
felt weird about it. We get into where they kept the food for the dogs, and she was showing it to me. We walk in, there's immediately just the worst smell that I've ever smelled. And she was like, "Man, what is that?" And she rounded the corner, and I just froze where I was. And I hear like a door shut, and she goes, "Oh man, the dead dog fridge was open."
No.
The dead dog fridge was open.
I cannot.
And then proceeded to go, "All right, so I've got you on the schedule for Monday." And I was like, I think I'm going to think about this for a little while.
I'll get back to you.
Left there.
That's terrifying.
And was defeated. After that interview, I was pretty defeated, but ended up finding another Craigslist ad to be a barista at the coffee house at 2nd and Bridge, which was in Franklin, Tennessee, which is where I lived at the time, and where you lived at the time, eventually.
Yeah, not yet, but yes.
So I was a barista and I was cooking in the kitchen as well. It was kind of I did front of house and back of house. I almost burned the place down.
No.
With a crock pot and a chicken breast.
God.
And then I got accused of robbing the place.
Yeah, I remember that.
I showed up one day and they were changing the locks, and no one was talking to me about it. And I was like, "Why are they changing the locks?" And then my kitchen manager pulled me aside and she said, "Joseph, the police are here and they have some questions for you."
You said, "I'm just trying to make some money at work."
I'm just trying to cook.
You said, "Do
chicken
you really
breast."
think if I robbed the place, I'd be back at
Would
work the
come
next
back?
morning?"
Right, exactly. So
That's
anyway,
crazy.
that was the coffee house, and I worked there for like a year and a half. That was actually one of the longer jobs that I've
The
held.
day I met you, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
I
you saw
went
me
there
there.
and I saw you.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Crazy.
And then I met him
You're like,
later
"Who's
that
that?"
night.
hot guy who's
Mhm.
taking the trash out
Yeah.
in his little jean shorts.
Oh God.
Wore a lot of jean shorts then.
Yeah, you did.
So that was the coffee house. Left the coffee house to go and work at Old Chicago.
That was a rough time for us.
Yes, it was. Well, the coffee house was kind of rough as well. I would say that my manager did not treat me very well.
No, that was a bad job for you.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to speak ill of people, but
no, but that was a
she was one of the worst managers that I've had.
yeah.
And that's life. You know, some people just aren't good managers, and she's one of them.
Yeah.
So left there.
Old Chicago was just hard because you were working nights and I was working all day, and we never really got to see each other.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what was hard about it.
That's what was hard in our relationship level. I'm sorry that it was so hard for you. I was washing dishes
No, I know.
at Old Chicago.
I know. Tell them the story of the name thing.
I am by nature non-confrontational.
Very.
And I walked into the kitchen on my first day. They hired me as a host, which I only did a few times. They actually were hiring a dishwasher and lied to me. So they kept scheduling me to dishwash. So the first day, I walked back into the kitchen, and like the lead line cook was like, "Hey, what's your name?" And I was like, "My name is Joseph." And he goes, "All right, Jacob, nice to meet you." And I never corrected him.
You were Jacob.
I was Jacob. So for the rest of my time working there, which was only a few months, it was like 3 or 4 months that I worked there. Because it really did get to me, and I didn't want to be a dishwasher.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to be a host. It was just
Yeah.
a job that I could take that got me out of the coffee house.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only place I've ever been offered heroin. Didn't take it, but I
That's
sure got
crazy.
offered heroin,
Yeah.
which admittedly not the right drug for working in a kitchen.
No.
You don't want to slow down. I want to go on the record and say that I've never taken hard drugs, but that's not the one that you want to take if you're working in a kitchen. So
Nah.
it was pretty inefficient back there.
Obviously.
It was pretty so that was Old Chicago. And then this is where I started working in merchandise.
Yes.
Old Chicago, I started working at a place called Company X.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Christian music merch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real stoked about it. And I actually got hired to tour doing merch, selling merch at Christian concerts, and never got to.
Never happened.
I was on 2 different tours that my bunk got cut. And looking back, I'm pretty grateful.
Yeah.
That's not where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So I ended up, it was a music industry job. This was my first music industry job in Nashville. And I am still incredibly grateful for it, but it sucked.
Yeah.
I was working in the warehouse. I was shipping and receiving.
Yeah.
I was packing.
It wasn't what you had really signed up for.
No, I was packing boxes. So
But it got your foot in the door.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what got me into my next job,
Mm-hmm.
which was also in merch. And I don't want to say this place's name because I have a lot of animosity towards them because this was actually the worst job I've ever worked.
Yeah.
So this next non-named merch company.
Another merch company.
I got a concussion there from one of the other employees.
Still so pissed about that.
Yep, that ruined a lot of my life.
Yeah.
I was working like 60-hour weeks and coming in on the weekends just to stay caught up because they wouldn't hire enough people.
Bad work environment.
Really bad work environment.
Also shipping and receiving, like warehouse
I was
work.
working,
It was not like.
It was e-commerce.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. So from there, I was looking for any out that I could. Met some great people through that job. My best friend Josh is he's from there as well. So we wouldn't have met if it wasn't for that. But I also would not go back there if you paid me to. And I was being paid.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Not enough, but,
That's life.
That's life.
So from there, I went to work at a guitar warehouse.
I forgot about that.
Which was it was a company that would buy pallets of broken guitars from like different manufacturers. It was their B stock, and they would get them received in. So I was the guy who would kind of receive the pallets in, and then all the guitars would go through the shop, and they would get repaired and brought up to the level where they're usable and sellable, and then they would sell the guitars to different like outlets,
Right.
guitar centers or whatever. And it was a weird kind of shady business. Like
Yeah.
it was like we weren't allowed to like talk about it. Like it's like
so
no,
weird.
we don't need to talk about it. But if you ever see a little used stamp on your headstock, I didn't sign an NDA. You know, like
Yeah. Oh my
if you ever see like the words used stamped on a headstock of a guitar, it probably came from that place. So
Wow.
that was that one. And I left that job because they asked us to pick sticks up in the parking lot in the middle of Nashville summer. And I said no. I said, it is 95 degrees and humid. I didn't come prepared to do landscaping. I'm not going to go pick sticks up out of the parking lot.
It's like a theme for you where people
100%.
just ask you to do things that you did not sign up
That
to
I didn't
do.
sign up for. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're going to do what's on what we talked about, or I'm going to leave. And that's been the theme. So from there, I kind of got headhunted in a way where it wasn't really headhunting. It was like a friend of a friend referred me
Someone
to
referred
somebody
you,
for another merch position. Because at this point, I had been doing merch for quite a few years. This was just a brief break.
Right.
And went to go and work at this other merch company where I was doing inventory and sort of projections for tours. And this was a really great job. I really enjoyed this. It was the most office-y job that I've ever had.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. Like office jobs don't scare me.
They scare me.
Yeah. You had an office job for 5 years.
But it was like a, quirky office job. We're different.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, we're like the office.
We're like the office.
That's what every like awful workplace environment is like. We work hard and we play hard.
It was just open environment, so like that left room for
right.
Just
So I went
funny
to work
things.
at Essential Artist Services as an assistant to the touring director. Loved that job, and that was up to March of 2020.
got sent home.
Yeah, which that was the worst week to live in Nashville. Was in March of 2020, and it was a roller coaster for me because it was my birthday.
I think it was the worst time for a lot of people.
Yes, but yes.
I don't think you need to make it Nashville specific.
But the tornado hit a week before
Oh,
COVID
you're right.
shut
I
everything
forgot
down,
about
which is
that.
what I mean. Like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was my birthday, and I was real stoked about it. And then it was the tornado. And then a week later, I had 9 tours full of merch out that all had to come back on the same day because COVID shut everything down. We
Yeah.
all were like, oh, it's going to be 2 weeks.
Yeah, like it'll be fine.
Yeah. And that was that. And then over COVID, we started a company.
Over COVID, you lost your job. You went unemployed.
Yeah.
The company went
implied.
under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Implied.
Okay.
I got laid off.
Yeah.
And then the company went out of business.
We started a business.
We started a merch company. I'm counting that as one of my jobs.
No, you should.
We started making merch. We started doing marketing. We started doing e-commerce, all of that. And that was a good time for a time.
Yeah.
And then it got too expensive.
Yeah.
So we stopped doing that. And then now I'm a guitar tech. And I wouldn't have guessed that. But that one literally fell into my lap. I got cold called and asked to come out and guitar tech, which I had not, as you can see, if you've been listening for the last 30-ish minutes. That's not a part of my resume.
Yeah.
I'm a guitar player, and I know how to set up guitars. At the time, it was like...
You had done a few
I'd
like
done a few,
one-off
like, fill-in
dates
dates.
for people
Yeah, here
for
and
doing
there.
guitar teching.
But
So you had
nothing
a very little
consistent.
experience in it, but it was enough that like, yeah, someone heard your name and called you. And
Yeah.
But then in between there, you also worked at Stay Golden.
Oh my God! I
See,
worked
that
at
was
Stay
the one that I thought of
Golden.
earlier. That I looked at your
You're
name.
right. Yeah.
So
I
that's
worked at
another one.
One of our favorite coffee shops in
Yeah.
town. And it started as a joke because I think that's why I forget that existed because it was just a joke to me. The
I
whole
know.
time.
Well, it was also like you only did it for a few weekends.
I worked for a week total. There.
Yeah.
Like a few weekends.
Joseph would do it. He would work there just like whenever he was home from touring and
Gaps and tour.
had a couple days or whatever.
And I would just bust tables.
But you did
and
work
sometimes
there,
I'd pull
so-
shots, and
Yeah.
that was just a fun one. That was
that
like
was a fun one.
we were there one time, and I made a joke about like, oh, I'm just gonna hop behind a bar, and then
Yeah.
the owner turned around and was like, I've got the paperwork ready. If
It's
you
like,
if you want,
You said you wanted to
you
work.
said you'd do it. You said you'd do it. So I
Um,
worked there for a little bit,
yeah. And then now you've been
and now I tour.
touring and
now
stuff
I'm
for the past
full-time-
year.
Yeah,
Wow. What a
and
journey.
that has been the trip through my experiences in corporate America.
My Be Real.
Oh, is it
I
time
feel
for
like
the Be
it's
Real?
time.
Let's do it.
It's good timing. Okay. Be real. Why is it always literally
It's always so
the most
blurry.
pixelated
That's so fun.
ever? But I love it.
Jordan, how can the people follow you on Be
Podcast
Real?
BBs. I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know how Be Real works. I don't use it.
I don't really care about it. That's what's great about it is no one really cares. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Jordan_Rubino, if you want to find me.
On Be Real.
On Be Real, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Thanks for listening to my journey,
it
my
was fun.
workforce journey.
You've worked so hard, Joseph.
I've had
so
some good
proud
ones
of you.
and I've had some bad ones. Some
Yes.
literal.
Literal.
Yeah.
Shout outs, Joseph. What are things you like right
Shout-outs.
now?
You know,
Anything you're into right now?
let me think. I've been getting slowly into fragrances.
Yeah.
I'm trying to smell better.
We both have.
Shout out to smelling better.
Shout out.
I don't think that I'm a smelly person overall.
No, you're not.
Thank you.
But it's fun to switch it up, you know?
Yeah, I've never been the cologne guy, but lately
Mhm.
I've been the cologne guy.
It's just finding the right one. I think cologne has a tendency to have I don't know.
Yeah.
I think people think of like old men smells sometimes when they think cologne, but like,
Yeah. Also, shout out to IKEA.
oh my gosh, IKEA.
Not a sponsor,
Wish.
but IKEA has just improved our life so much.
We recently bought a IKEA wardrobe to organize our closet, and let me tell you, it has changed the game for us.
I wish we were recording as we like a video of us getting that put in.
We have so many clothes; it's ridiculous.
It is a problem.
But this helped us kind of organize it way better.
Yeah,
Better use of space.
definitely.
IKEA and fragrances. We love to see it.
Specifically, the IKEA planner.
Oh yes,
Just go play around on there.
it's online. It's like you can just
It's
like
so fun.
put in
You could
measurements
just see what
and
your
add
room
things.
could be.
That's how Joseph made our kitchen.
Yeah.
He designed it in IKEA. Which, if you've seen our kitchen, you know
It's hot.
it's super hot. It's a beautiful kitchen.
Anyway,
Well,
that's me.
that's it for today. Thanks for joining us. Blackbird Breakfast Club.
Have a great day.
See you next week. Bye.